Yo, yo, my sovereigns. What up? This is Boba Fett, uncensored on the internet, with episode 28 of Splinterlands 101. Joining us on the show, as usual, our co-hosts, finest gentleman who ever lived, Matt Clark.
Matty.
Here's Matt Clark. He's one of the finest gentlemen that ever lived.
The Geo of the Geotrix. Geotrix.
Hey, guys.
And joining us tonight, our guest from the Philippines. Gio and I met through our membership in the Drop Bears Guild, and we've had some pretty amazing conversations on Discord, just typing, and just some people, even if you're just typing, their personality just comes through. Shines, yeah. I was like, we got to get this guy on the show, and of course, it is always great to actually put a face and hear a voice to someone who's just been, this words on a screen type thing, which is the whole theme of this behind the avatar. When you're battling and stuff, there's an actual, unless you're fighting a bot, there's a person on a computer somewhere else in the world that you're actually battling against. And it's good to know, who is on the. So, BMO, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Alrighty, and we generally find, we've had guests on the show previously from all kinds of backgrounds. Some people have come from crypto into the game. Some people have come into the game, and that's been their, Hive blockchain's been their first introduction to crypto. There's investments, there's gamers, there's collectors. So how did you find yourself to actually first be here on Splinterlands, BMO?
I was Googling NFTs, and then I just stumbled upon Splinterlands. It was actually my first intro into NFTs. And at first, I was just playing without buying the spellbook for about a week. I really had no idea what to do. Then I started joining groups, Discords, and that. And that's how I started.
So you had no internal support to begin with. There was no Discord help or anything. You were just literally feeling your way through from scratch.
Yeah, just like I always do, just go head first and then just figure it out.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Fair enough. Yeah, our last guest on the show, Dicko, he came from an NFT background as well, and was just Googling more NFTs. He actually saw that interview with Agro, and that sold him. But yeah, it's always interesting. Yeah.
What I find interesting is that he just searched NFT and Splinterlands came up some way, in some shape or form, which is good. That's what we want as a collective here. Yeah. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
So the broader Filipino community, have you been building that, or did you discover that? Were they in place, or is that something that you've gone around and done a lot of recruiting?
It was in place when I started. They already have around 2,000 participants in the group, 20,000 participants in the group. Sorry.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
So if Splinterlands ever crashed, the Filipino economy would just plummet. That's a huge representation, 20,000.
Just on that one Filipino group.
Wow.
I used to think there was only 20,000 people playing Splinterlands. Let alone. Okay. I stand corrected.
That's fascinating to me. How do they How does everybody collaborate? Is it Discord, Telegram, Facebook, or all of the above? What sort of collaboration is there? Do you guys work together, just sharing tips and hints? Do you transact with each other? Do you meet up in person? Because this is blowing my mind, to be honest.
On Facebook, and it's mainly used for firstly bragging and then transactions.
That's awesome.
I'm still I think with Matt, I'm still stuck on that 20,000. It's like, even here in Australia, we're talking to someone and they're from Australia. It's like, oh wow, another Australian! It's crazy.
Yeah.
So Matt, you were.
No, I'm just I'm fascinated by it all. So, would you say that it's a fairly spread out, community, or are you mostly in the one city?
No, because like for me in the Philippines, we have about 7,000 islands. So I'm on this one island, and I think there's only about 10 players here from who I know, and then the others are concentrated in the mainland.
Well,
And the
that's it, man.
mainland would be like Manila and all those.
Yeah, like specifically in Manila.
Okay.
Well, like when you say, only 10 people on this one island, like I don't even know 10 people in Melbourne.
They.
And one thing too, you actually, because I've never like really got into renting cards before at all. And it's only recently with the new focus changes that I've revamped my old alt account from nothing basically. And like you helped me out with that recommendation for a Mylor set to ride
Mylar
away.
and Friend.
Yeah. And yeah, because I was just getting smashed. And I gave it a go. I rented was it 5 cards or something? And yeah, in like half an hour, I was in bronze. And I didn't even because I just wanted the regular rule sets. But before I knew it, I was in bronze too, just smashing the same team over and over. And Earth wasn't even my focus, but I just wanted to get to that point because I was getting like 2 points per win type thing. I was like, I'm never going to get a chest at this point. But yeah, just that team just smashed it. And rentals is a huge part of your game, isn't it?
Yeah, because I'm competitive by nature, so I don't want to. I always want to go for the top. So the only way to do it is for me to rent. Because if I don't rent, I'm just gonna be able to play around silver 2 with my own cards.
And I've seen you like posting your stats, regularly at the end of the focus, end of the seasons, like your profit and loss from the rewards versus your rentals. So you obviously keep track of all that. Do you treat Splinterlands as a business, or is it just a game with a bit of cash coming in? Like, what's your focus there?
Really, I've only put money in it. I haven't taken out anything yet. Awesome. I just want to see huge numbers on my screen.
Love you, B.
My man.
That's respect.
Yeah.
So what's your strategy then going into each season? Like, talk us through the BMO success plan of Splinterlands.
Well, because when the new focus started, for some reason I only had about 7,000 deck across all my accounts, my alts too. And then right now I'm sitting at around 80,000 deck in total, and all the good cards that I got and packs from the champ chests were there too. So basically what I do is I set an amount for me to spend on renting for a league. Like in Diamond and Champ, I set aside around 3,500 deck and then just gambled it away.
Yeah.
And I'll get about maybe 15 focus chests to 20 per grind. And if I don't get any of the deck back, I'll still wait for the end of the season and see if I can get all of it back and some. So far, it's been doing good.
Yeah, you said you started the start of this focused reward change with 7,000 deck. Now you're up to 80k plus packs plus whatever else.
Yeah, all the good cards I also got.
I think that's what you would call a plus in my book.
Yeah, I'm a gambler by default, so
dude, it's cool. I mean, look, man, you're renting, you know what cards to rent, which are competitive play. And yeah, you're renting them and yeah, you're smashing it, dude. Like I don't even know what else to say. To me, that's just so foreign, you know? Because I
Yeah.
just play with what I own. I might rent maybe 1 or 2 cards every season, if that. But here you are, majority just renting. You have to put the EC away, and you're just sort of like, yeah, hoping on that gamble that everything pays off. But it is.
Yeah.
It's working.
Mm-hmm.
And you're grinding multiple accounts there too. I mean, and you don't use bots. Like that's like
No.
as just everything you do all manual
Yeah,
grinding.
like
How do you do that? Manage so many accounts.
well, when I grind from 100 ECR to around 35 ECR in one sitting. It usually takes me an hour and a half. So because I just skip the game, and yeah, I only grind on my downtime, which is shrinking lately. But yeah, I have 5 accounts currently grinding. I grind 1 account, then let it rest for 3 days, and then so I can have an account to grind every day, basically.
Like a rotation.
Yeah.
It's
Like
very
crop,
nomadic.
like crop rotation. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Because ECR is my nemesis at the moment. And like if I let it get down to 60, then the next focus, I try to get it back up to so I finish on 70 or 75. Then from there I try and get close to 90, then to 100, which means I'm getting less and less chests until I get back up to 100, and then I just smash it straight back down to 60 again. But I'm only grinding with my CP. I've got my my main account, which is Boba Fett, which I play at gold 1, and then my alt account that I literally have to delegate cards to focus by focus. So each focus, I'll delegate all my spare cards, and at the end of that focus, undelegate them and then send the next focus. But I'm only playing that in bronze, so I don't even have the CP to get that into silver. Plus, I don't think I'd want to get my alt into silver, because then it's just going to make it harder the following season to get. And like I've shared some of my chest openings. You still get some decent chests in bronze. I've had better chests sometimes in bronze than in gold. It's just luck of the draw, which gets back to your strategy there. Like it's gambling. Like you risk ratio on return.
Yeah.
And important with the ECR that you're talking about, Bob, me and BMO were talking about on the Discord that towards like maybe the last day or last 2 days or even 3, maybe smash your ECR down to like next to nothing. And because the start of the season's quite hard, you know, all the big guys are rolling
Great time
in.
for recovery.
Yeah, man. That's a good time to really smash it low in the last 1 day or 2. BMO, what would you say? Or even a day? I don't know.
Well, I've done that with 1 account, and for some reason, there was only about 30 hours left for the season.
Okay.
And yeah, it was easier to climb up, but once you get to a certain point, you're just gonna be stagnant because
True. ECR.
you can only do so much with 1 splinter on your focus, and some splinter will always just beat you no matter what, and then you're just gonna be stuck. So what I did was I stopped halfway. I didn't grind till I think I only used up 50% of my ECR, and then I stopped. Then after EOS, I started 2 hours after. I started grinding.
Early, man. You're rolling with the ones who want to get ahead real quickly, huh?
Yeah, because sometimes it's the rentals are more cheaper about an hour or 2 after the end of season, so I just get a jump start from it.
I often refer.
No, Bob. No, go. It's all good.
I often refer to that first couple of days each season as the stampede of the overlords. They want to get back to their home ground, but to get there, they've got to go through your home ground. And just like stand back and just let them go. Yeah. So, Gio, what were you going to say?
It's getting harder and harder each season now, as from what I've experienced.
So the competition is stiffening, right? Like
Yeah.
when you're
Especially
starting
in
just straight
Diamond.
from EOS, you're
Yeah.
saying that things are getting real hard.
Mm-hmm.
What would you what do you reckon that is the cause? Like what would be the cause of that, you reckon?
Well, from what I can deduce, most of the renters that are heavy grinders, more heavier grinders than me, they, especially in Diamond, I think they just camp there because you need at least 250 CP to take a peek at your focus instead of going on champ and you have to rent 500k CP before you can peek. So from the groups on Facebook, that's what they do. That's what they were telling everybody that they're just to camp on Diamond if you're one of those high league grinders. And yeah, I think they caught up with just rent everything on one focus and then just go to town with it.
So Diamond's like a sweet spot.
When I rent, I almost rent everything for that focus, except for the ones that are obviously of no use. But yeah.
And do you go for gold foils or alphas or betas to try and get the extra points, or do you play like Chaos Legion with your grinding?
No, if I'm grinding, I use almost all of it. Mostly alphas for certain splinters where they're still, especially in death, most of the alphas are giving me more points because I use them a lot. And for other splinters, their alphas don't really have no use, at least for me. So I get less points because I mostly use the newer cards.
So is there like going to be a BMO's Renter's Guide to Grinding coming out soon as an ebook? And that's
yeah, it's skill, man. Because if you were to put me in that position to rent the cards that I needed, I wouldn't even know where to start. What do I need? Because I haven't played in, I haven't really reached into champ. I don't know what competitive play is. I only know what plays that I have with the cards that I own. So I don't know about like all the other. Oh yeah, sure, I see people using cards, but I don't know if it's actually used in the top of the top ranks. When you start to climb the leaderboard. I would guess you start to see more cards that like sort of the same, you see the same sort of cards a lot. For example, your blights, we speak about this all the time, the heads, the Corneliuses, the Almos, that sort of realm of tiered cards. So yeah. I think that's a skill because I wouldn't know really what to rent, to be honest.
That's where it'd be handy, Gio, if you actually, rather than skipping to results, you actually watch the battle and you see what these strange cards are doing to you and go, oh, I need to rent that card because Bob, that's what it does.
But you see, Bob, I just said I play with what I got. I'm not really a renter, I might, rent one or two cards here, but I think it takes some patience and you're right, and skill to know what to rent for that particular splinter. I guess it is easier with the focus, with the focus, right? Because it's only one splinter. So I guess that kind of, I guess that actually makes it easier on renters because now they're focusing on one thing per day. So okay, maybe it's not as hard as I thought it was. I don't know.
And they know that Splinter's always going to be available too because it's their daily focus. So you don't have to worry about not being available in that match. BMO, I'm still blown away by this 20,000 people in the Philippines.
Yeah.
what would you say is the main thing that the game could do to bump that up to 200,000 people, particularly in the next bull run? So say things start getting interesting again, Bitcoin's 30, 40,000 again, with hives going up, dark energy crystals are holding that sort of soft peg, SPS at say 50 cents, 60, 70 cents. How can we turn those 20,000 people into 200,000 people? What are the blockers, and what should the game be doing to really make it roll out the welcome mat to those extra potential players?
Well said.
The best way to make Filipinos do something is if you give them something free. Like, I'm not saying
Yeah.
give them something. Like, there was this event a few weeks ago. A local player just made the event by himself, just to encourage other people to play. So what he did was he invited them. He owned a bar, and then he set up a tournament at that bar, I think, yeah. And then prizes were like a bucket of beer or whatever, but he was encouraging his local community to play. And I think he got a lot of people interested in there, and because there was another event, a meetup event that happened like last week, and they were giving away spell books, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so the current players were inviting their non-player friends to come with them, and then eventually those non-players started playing.
You know
And
what?
of course, you'd be making money from your referral code as well. That would be the main thrust behind hosting the event, I guess.
Yeah.
I was actually having a conversation with my partner Steph, right, about the community of other countries compared to the West. I reckon that because when I went to Thailand, it's so well packed. Everyone's just like mingling and together. And where I'm from, you don't see that. Everyone's in their own little, own section, and they don't want to be annoyed. But when there's like a communal event going on, everyone's out there. Everyone's involved, and I think that's why you have those numbers. I think there's less ego. I said it. I think there's less ego. I don't know. Is it just me? I just feel like, some people in other countries, their culture are more approaching towards one another. And I think that's why you're able to get those numbers. I mean, like I said, Bob said before, I don't even know 5 people in Melbourne who play this game or want to play this game. like I guess the incentive in other places based on the economy and whatever else it's just not here. It's not here. I think it's in your country and other countries like yours. I think that's where the real growth for this sort of platform will come from.
Yep.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think it is a barrier, the Australian culture there, because even back in the high, like the bull run era of Steam and then Hive, we have Melbourne meetups, and not Splinterlands, but the whole Hive, and we'd be lucky to get 5 people out of the whole of, but Melbourne's got what, 4.6 million, 7 million, I don't know. Yeah, it's just
no one's interested.
Australian cultures. No one's, it's like, leave me alone. Don't ring me. Don't text me. Don't knock on my door. Or you see you jump on a bus or a tram, everyone's looking for a seat that's completely empty so they don't have to sit next to someone.
Yeah. The cultures, dude, it's so much different, different worlds.
Yeah.
So are you able to get to these meetups and events, BMO, or is that difficult to get from your island to where they're?
I have to ride a plane to go there, because it's like an hour away by plane.
Man,
I think there's only about 5 to 10 of us playing it here on my island from that I know.
Man, one island. And do you know these people? Like, do you interact with them? Do you, are you friends with them?
What's the population of your island?
I think we're
Yeah, that's a good
around,
starter.
300,000. I think
Mhm.
it's like it's a 400-kilometer long island, so it's rather big for its size, considering.
Yeah, just get some perspective
Yeah.
because some people they'll be thinking like island, just automatically like small.
Yeah.
Like for example, like when I was a child, my mum comes from the country of Ireland, but also she comes from a small island off the coast of Ireland. And I think population back then was like 400 or 500. I mean, we had 3-digit phone numbers, right? That gives you an idea of the size of the island, 3-digit phone numbers. So when you say I'm from an island, and it's like, I think there was, there's 300,000 people on this island. It's just, yeah, gives us some perspective there. So what's your grind? Because actually I want to touch back on the rental, like what advice you'd give to someone who, because as I say, I've got my main account, which is all my owned cards, and then all my spares I can use to delegate to my alt account. But yeah, that ECR, it's a a bottleneck for me at the moment. And I've never considered the fact of like opening a new account and having the entire account just rented for the sole purpose of trying to generate an income from it. I've never like thought of that before. I'd like to touch more on that, but just to sort of place you more in the picture. Like, what's your main hustle or your main grind in daily life outside of Splinterlands? Like, what do you do?
Well, I'm a chef by trade, so I cook. I now cook at home because my wife is a dietitian. So what we do is we cater customized food for people who have dietary restrictions. So basically, people with diabetes and all that, and we deliver it to their houses 3 times a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too much work though, because like we make just the two of us, me and my wife, we would make about 100 meals per day, and like I said, that's why I haven't been grinding like I used to before. And everything made from scratch, and everything is customized to client's needs, so it's rather tiresome, really.
But I don't even know how you do that. I don't even work and I find it hard to play the game. I got all the time in the world and I still can't do what you do.
Yeah, sometimes when I prepare the meals, I mean prep time before cooking, I usually do it at around 2 a.m. my time here, and then I'll end up sleeping at around 5 a.m. Then my wife would start cooking at around 3 a.m. And while I'm preparing, sometimes I just put my Chromebook and I just, since it's a touchscreen, I can touch it, and then I'll be grinding while I'm preparing. Yeah, because I can't do one thing and that thing only. I have to do something, and I have to have the same while doing something. Like when I'm renting, I'm watching Netflix on the other screen, and then just patiently renting.
So multitask is your default.
Yeah.
Yeah. I generally struggle with multitask. I'm the sort of person, like if I'm driving and I need to look at some directions, I have to turn the radio down to look at the map. It's like, yeah. It's so
yeah. I can't walk and fart at the same time. I shit myself to fall over.
I had a friend who used to, like, with smoking. If he was going to have a cigarette, he'd have to stop, and he'd have his cigarette. Like, he couldn't walk and have a cigarette. It was just him. That was Kane, Ryan. Kane. I actually might have friend of links, but might have been before your time there, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
I met the dude. But anyway, I remember the story that, yeah,
Yeah, it's just
yeah. It's
funny.
like in the parking lot. This is a real common thing. I have to turn the voice down on the music, whatever, to park because I feel like it makes me like I'm not distracted and I can see better.
Yeah,
Although that's complete nonsense, but yeah, at least you know you want to hear when you're in a car park, right? I don't know. That's just me.
and there's BMO doing 5 things at the same time.
Yeah, and nah, dude, I respect that hustle, dude. So you got to like order everything as well, yeah, and it gets
Yeah.
sent to your place or wherever it is that you work from. So you got to keep all the what would you call that? The list
stock
of
or ingredient. Yeah.
yeah. So you got to do inventory, all of that. Then you got to like make the things with and to each person, like
Yeah.
different meals for each people.
Uh-huh.
And you've managed to do this on an island with only 300, like you've literally created a business with only 300,000 people on that island, you know, and you're catering, dude, man, I don't know what to say. That's really cool. That's all.
Yeah. It was hard at first, but your body just gets used to it eventually.
Yeah. And how do you
Yeah,
deliver this food to people? Do you just stick it in an Uber, or do you actually deliver it yourself
No,
personally?
I have one staff and one staff only, and what he does is just deliver and buy ingredients that if needed, but mostly his job is to deliver.
So you and your partner do all the cooking preparation, and you got one driver that just does all the deliveries for you.
Yeah.
it's a 3-man team, and
Yeah.
woman.
And our
Yeah.
housekeeper / dishwasher is one of them too.
Okay, 4.
Right? Yeah.
Still cool, man. It's man. I know businesses that do a lot less with a lot more people. Let's just put it like that.
Well, we actually want to hire, but COVID is still a thing, so we can't have strangers go into our house and start cooking there. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I am tired. I need somebody to cook for me.
All right. So yeah, you've really like touched on a subject there, BMO. It's like you've got my heart pumping again, and sort of the cultural aspect of the hustle. Because here in Australia, like it's so barren, and I think it's like we have the term people have coined, the nanny state. And in fact, Australia is just so over regulated. I think we've got 2 things going on here. We've got, first of all, there's the whole welfare safety net. It's like, if I just sit at home and I don't do anything, I don't go anywhere, I don't eat, I can live type thing. So just go away, leave me alone. And then the regulated side of things. Like I've traveled myself extensively through Southeast Asia and through South America. In fact, I've been to the Philippines probably 4 or 5 times. And I've mentioned, like, I've got a brother and sister through my father, half brother, half sister, who live in Perth now, who are Filipino. And when you're traveling around Southeast Asia or South America, you go down a street somewhere and there's some guy or some girl with a blanket on the footpath selling just their wares, just that hustle. You try to do that here in Australia, you'll have 6 cops just pounce on you. Where's this permit? Where's that permit? Here's a fine. Here's this. And it just kills. It literally
motivation
just destroys the spirit of entrepreneurship. Just this over-regulation. And even back in the 80s, it was a different world here. Like when I was in the Navy and getting posted from one state to another, even while I was in the Navy, I always had a side hustle. I was just buying and selling stuff, or like on my days off duty hours, delivering pizzas, I always had something as like a cash in hand, sort of, which is strong motivation to get somewhere if you want to get ahead. And you just can't get that in Australia now. You can't get a cash hand job. Just taxation plays an issue and everything,
harder.
the regulation, it just kills. So you've in fact, like that's the reason I was actually wanting to leave Australia. And little side story, like I was planning on leaving Australia in September 2020, and then COVID comes out of nowhere. Like, you know, like if you want to ruin your, like, it's who saw that coming, right? And at the time I was working on a job in Perth, an archaeology job. All my expenses in Perth were paid. I just keep my food receipts. So all the money I was earning in Perth was mine. All I had to do was pay my rent over here in Melbourne while I was over there. And this was all going towards leaving Australia. Then pandemic comes along. First thing Australia does, close all of its international borders, state borders as well. But like, that's something outside of your control. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? And then every step of the way, looking for windows of opportunity to leave, something else just came. And I'm not talking little stuff. I'm talking like Twilight Zone level stuff that made me reassess, okay, maybe I'm supposed to be here for a reason. But I'm thinking, because I've been talking, I have a friend who lives in Guadalajara in Mexico. There's an Aussie who lives there full time now. I've been talking with him again recently about moving over there, because there was one place in Peru that I absolutely fell in love with up in the Andes, Ollanta Tambo. And I was thinking, like, if I was to settle there, and again, I'm just thinking like side hustles, I could easily get some, just laboring work in archaeology on some of the sites there. But I wanted to set up, in fact, the reason I first set up my alt account was as like the workshops that you were talking about that you were doing there. I could do, because I do a little bit of tutoring online, which here in Australia is just, I mean, it's the money that I buy my cards with comes from that. That's all it does. Living in Mexico or living in Peru, I could live off that. That would cover all my expenses. And I set up my alt account as a side hustle for when I moved to Peru. This was all planning ahead. And it fell into other categories of drug wars and Splinterlands and stuff. But originally, when I created that account, was living in South America, especially because I speak Spanish, you know, I could earn just enough money tutoring to cover my expenses. And then I wanted to create like a community, teach people how to use Hive blockchain technology. And this is like, I hadn't even thought of Splinterlands at that point. Just get people involved, making videos, because that's what I was doing at the time, making videos that, you know, at the time, a video was making about $120 with DTube upvotes. Imagine getting a community in Peru involved, making that kind of an income. But then, yeah, all this stuff happened, just smashed down, my dreams collapsed and everything. You've really like reignited that fire of the hustle culture that is the human spirit. Yeah, I'm fired up, and I'd love to hear, like, do you have plans like yourself? Because you say you've reached this impasse with your business, like to expand your business, you now need more people, which is more expenditure, and sort of you reach that crossroads, which do I hold at this level? Do I expand? But you're really, really hustling and doing the grind on Splinterlands as that side of things. I haven't looked at Splinterlands as an income. I've just looked at it as a little bit of extra flow. But where you are, it's a genuine income. You know, like in Mexico and Peru,
Absolutely,
you can live on that. You just can't do that in Australia. You just can't, unless you've got massive amounts. But for the average person getting started, just looking for something to do, where would you like your experience of what you've done to get to the point where you're grinding 4 or 5 accounts, diamond, champion, renting for accounts for income? What would you say to someone who was just wanting to get started and take that course? Because, you know, we're here in Australia, we can't do that here, but this you know, we don't know where people are watching this video, which is why there's a massive Venezuelan community as well, because, you know, their economy is crashed. US dollar is, you know, the net looking at going in, you know, Bitcoin, they're expanding in cryptocurrencies, their awareness. So if people are looking for an opportunity, how would you see, like, someone wanting to develop that in this play to earn environment. Sorry, that was a mouthful, but I'll hand it over to you
Yeah.
now.
Loved it. Bob, man, I loved it, man. I just listened. It's great.
Yeah, think what I would do is, like, for me, I started with, like I said, I started with one account, and then I enjoyed it, so I put in, I think I put in about $10 after buying the spell book. I put in again $10 so I can buy. I didn't rent at that time, so I bought just 2 cards for Helio, I think, because it was the meta at that time was that magical rat from the with protection. Yeah, so I bought Torhelio so I can advance, and then that's just the 2 cards that I bought from since I played, and after that everything I got was from grinding. So I started from those 2 cards, and then right now I think my CP my own power is up to, I think, 65,000, I think, more or less. And when sometimes I would hit a deck reward with like 5,000 or something like that, and then I would advance my league grinding because I got the deck for it to run. And with this new system, it's actually more profitable for renters like me to just gamble and that you can get better rewards on higher leagues. That's why I camp my accounts on Diamond and Champ, because that's, from my experience, that's where I got most of the deck rewards and good cards that I got right now. But really, you have to be patient in renting, because if I usually spend around 3,000, 3,500 for Diamond and Champion, and it's easier for me to grind because I got almost all the cards for that focus. But if I'm gonna spend only 30 minutes renting at market price, that budget would go up to about 7,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really patient renting. I just hit refresh every now and then until I get the price that I want. If not, I'm just gonna watch on my other screen while hitting refresh on the other screen, waiting for the price that I think is acceptable for me.
So you've developed a business plan then that you're adjusting. You're not, that is this, you're following a pathway here that you've created for yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember one of the guys that are playing here in my Ireland, he texted me asking if he can buy deck off of me because he was short on end of the season for renting power. I said, well, yeah. So I think he bought around 5,000 deck from me, transferred the money into my account, and then gave him the deck.
That's dope. You cut out transaction fees, like the middleman, even within the ecosystem of Hive engine and whatever else, right? Like that's something he doesn't have to fork out just out of like just P2P trust, dude, you know?
Yeah.
So it's dope.
I think P2P is so underrated and undervalued in its potential. And I think that stems from a trust issue.
Yeah.
You know, if you're dealing with people you don't know, trust is always going to be that issue. Like, you know, back in the early days of Splinterlands, when there was no third party, there was no marketplace, so to speak. Like Matt, you were facilitating, like, because of your reputation and being well known, you were the middleman for a lot of transactions. So, you know, if BMO, you got a card that I want to buy, I send Matt my money, you send Matt the card, and when Matt's got them both, then he sends them out. So needed that third party. But when you have a community with the trust is already established, that opens up so many possibilities.
Yeah. Like
That's
for
where
the-
humanity has to get to.
like for the groups here, Facebook groups for Splinterlands, you have to vouch for somebody first. If you haven't had a transaction from them, but you'll just comment that you vouch for this guy, and then eventually they'll earn trust from the other guys, so they know who to get stuff from.
That's a good system.
Yeah.
And it's your reputation on the line, I guess. It's
Yeah.
like, in Australia, it's like, oh, I'm going for a job interview. Can I put you down as a reference? Yeah, no worries. Like, there's just no actual, well, hang on a sec, this is my credibility on the line here if you mess up or whatever. Or you think like, mob movies or the mafia, if you say, yep, this guy's okay, I speak for this guy, and then that guy turns rat and goes to the FBI or whatever, well, you're gone.
It's both.
So to vouch for someone, I think that level of integrity and trust is also lacking here in Australian culture.
Yeah.
What do you think, Matt? You've got a lot more experience in the transaction side of things in Splinterlands.
Well, part of my rationale for holding the monthly meetups in Adelaide was to build those relationships. So I've, not going to say any transactions have happened. Who knows? It's none of my business. But I'm fairly confident that they might have gone down. But they're between people that know each other, trust each other, because we've met and interacted in person, and there's nothing like it. There's no way that online can ever come close to just that human one-on-one interaction or in a large group. So I really feel that's the future, is meeting in person, and then transacting that way, I think is the best way to do it. But we're very early in this, so the tools to do this stuff online with escrow and the like, they're coming. Automating rentals is coming, or bot play. It's all, everything is being built. The third party stuff is being built now by people seeing a future here. So, Bimo, I'd be interested to hear from you. What's your, your mid to long term goal? Are you aiming to be somebody who owns cards and rents them out to other people for the passive income? Is that what you're aiming for, or are you shooting for the top of the leaderboard? Do you want to be a name and a face in the game, as in like streaming or anything like that? What are you aiming for? What's your North Star?
Well, firstly, I'm aiming to have my account at least without renting, at least in gold eventually, and then from there, I'll keep doing my thing, and then just buy all the stuff that I'm renting, and then just own it eventually. That's my goal, really, is to own all of these cards that I'm used to using, because I'm comfortable with them, and eventually that's what I want.
When this episode goes live, around the time it goes live, we're going to be having the modern wild split. Do you see yourself playing mostly in modern, or are you going to go for wild? Where are you at, or are you happy to bounce between the two wherever you think the most crystals are up for grabs?
Yeah, on the first few weeks, I'll probably have 2 of my accounts in wild and 3 in modern, and see which one is more profitable for me.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Just can't.
I'm still like, you've just opened up, like my mind is taking over with possibilities, that just because you've, like, that part of me had already died inside because of the environment that I'm in. In fact, you've actually, everything that you've developed, and because we know from your results and stuff in guild chats, like, you're dominating what you're doing. It's not like you're just playing around. You're doing really, really well with your battling, your brawls, and so forth. But you started with like $30 and everything you've got has come from income that $30 has created, that you've then used to create more assets, which has generated the income for you to then create more assets. There's no excuse for anyone watching to say, well, I can't afford to do this. I don't have money to put into the game.
Very true.
Use the game to make the money that you want to put into the game. Like,
at least with the rewards, the way they are right now, you know, because we can't speak in the future how the rewards changes will mess with the, you know, return of investment, whatever else. But right now, it is such a good time. You know, and this is a time where most people probably, like, because of the bear market, everyone's like, be gone. But it's actually the most profitable. It's crazy. Like, you know,
and he doesn't just have what he's made, you know, in terms of dollar value, the numbers on, you know, the big numbers on the screen, which we all love. It's also, you know, he's got expertise in the game now. He's got all of these thousands of matches under his belt. Right, he has knowledge of the ecosystem, standing in the community, profile, right? All of these things that you, especially in the attention economy, or these are things that, you know, a few years from now, the flashy Hollywood types with the fake smiles, they'll all come in and they'll, oh yeah, I'm an early adopter of Split. No, you're not, right? You can't fake being here now, right? This is where you get your credibility right now, and this is where you get known as being somebody who saw the value in this place early on. That kind of credibility, that's a lot more than just the numbers on the screen. So it's when somebody says to you, oh, hey, you've been around for a long time and you're used for escrow in, you know, in different transactions, and people listen to what you say. That has a way of paying dividends down the track that is really, really difficult to, you know, to sum up in dollar terms. But I think it's, you know, you're $30 plus a whole lot of labor. You know, you're tired. It's not just, oh, here's $30 you invested it. Well, you've you know, put the concentration, you've put the hours in, you've dedicated yourself to this thing, and now you've not just got what you've got, you've also got all those other ephemeral sort of bonuses and benefits from that. And that's
street creds.
You know, who knows where that's going to go?
Yeah. So, like your Hollywood analogy there, it's like, you know, I've been here, it's like, show me your gladiator card collection then.
Exactly.
Yeah, can't buy them or trade them. Like,
Exactly.
Show me your gladiator cards. Yeah,
and even like the whole sentiment around NFTs, right? Largely, mostly people are still so arrogant about how useful they can be, because all they picture an NFT to be is just a picture on a screen, a digital image that you own.
A lot of them are. I mean, there's, you know, for every genuine product like this, there's some crap out there as well. And
but that's I guess because of the majority of them being just a JPEG, right? Literally. That's the information that really spreads to the normies, is that, oh, this is just shit. I mean, I'd rather just own the physical copy, you know, like it. But when you got function behind something like this, that's when the light bulb moment happens.
Yeah. And
for people, you know, all around the world. Anyway.
Matt's talked on previous episodes, but one of the things he loves about this is the number of ways within the game. Okay, I'm in Splinterlands. Okay, but what does that mean to you? There's so many different things that could mean to you, so many ways to make income, and then turning that income into ways to make income. And yeah, BMO's classic example of starting from scratch recently as well. You know, some people might look at Matt and go, oh yeah, he's lucky, he got in right at the beginning, you know, sort of, you know, the too late, I'm too late crowd. Until it's like, and then the missed opportunities are, you were lucky, you know, as like one of the greatest acronyms I like for luck is laboring under correct knowledge. It's like, but people just like, oh, luck. Well, actually, BMO, what do you think? People say, oh man, you're just lucky. What's your view on that crowd?
Oh man, I mean, luck is good if you have it, if you like if you got lucky at one point, but it's mostly down to hard work, how you see things, how you perceive things. Because if you're just gonna rely on luck, then man, might as well just buy lottery tickets every day.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So if someone was going to start off with a new account, in say the bronze,
Mhm.
obviously, I guess you'd want to get a little bit of experience before
Yeah,
stepping
for
into
sure.
deeper water. But where do you think is a good initial hunting ground for getting on the ground? Bronze, silver, or like where would you suggest someone
Uh,
new starting aims for?
Like for me, I started in bronze for about a month. I just camped in there. And then after that, I went straight to silver. Got the feel of it for about 2 weeks. Then eventually transitioned to gold. Gold was where I was at when I was getting good stuff already. And then I got a taste of diamond and then I transitioned to diamond. And then with a new focus, I said, "Yeah, well, might as well try champ," and then went straight to champ, and it was good in there. Because like I have 4 accounts, right? Currently grinding in champ and silver, and I get around somewhere between 20 to 25 chests, focus chests per day on
Wow.
accounts, and then it'll rest for about 3 days, but I still have another account to play the next day, and then I'll get the same focus chest. So basically, I'm just juggling accounts so I can get focus chests daily and that range. So, and it has been profitable for me doing it that way. You know.
It's efficient.
Yeah,
When
It's
you
time efficiency.
so go on, Gio.
Hmm. That's all I had.
So when you get cards in your focus chests and end of season chests, is that like you look at that as an asset to hold, or do you look at that as something to trade to increase your deck to rent with? What's your take on that?
honestly, I haven't sold any cards yet. I think I sold one card to a. I know the person, so he wanted to. It was a legendary card, and that was the only time that I sold, and I sold it P2P. So,
Mhm.
Beautiful.
and I grew my account from there.
Yeah, I'm like,
It's inspiring.
yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right. And I think like Matt asked you earlier, like, where do you see yourself like going from this point? Do you see yourself like wanting to be like someone known in the Splinterlands community for a new person to go to and say, do you looking to be a guru in the area, or you just want to just be a background, just grinding hard person? What's your take on that?
Well, eventually, yeah, I wouldn't mind being somebody known because of the game. Because I would want the bragging rights for that.
It's rep. It's reputation. And then you can
Yeah,
have a workshop as yeah, like a workshop for the youngins,
Yeah.
get them in on, instead of playing games that aren't gonna earn them anything, at least
Yeah,
earn a little
exactly.
something, right?
You're earning while doing something that you really like. I
Yeah.
mean, even though if I'm earning on this game and I don't like it, I wouldn't put all of those man hours for it.
Mm.
The reason why I stayed because I really like the game.
You enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
now look at how many hours I poured into Civilization and Guild Wars, for game things this is before I even play to earn, was before
Mhm.
crypto. I Yeah, and now I think like I look at getting a new game or something, and I think, well, all that's going to do is waste my time. That's all it's going to do now is waste my time.
And your energy to play the game. That's wasting your time and money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, games. Even if a game is free, you know, that's not the same as getting paid, right? We're sorting out we've got a new paradigm, right? Now I get paid to play games. But even, you know, there are people out there who aren't just free gaming. They're spending $10, $20 a day on Candy Crush credits to do nothing, right? They just the pixels glow on your phone screen, and you go, oh, I'm going to buy the special gem power up. Look at the, you know, and then there's another $20 gone that day, and you just, you know, I'm sitting here in the meantime. I've made $20. How can you compare the two? Like,
you're paying the company
You're
and
paying the
wasting your
company.
time.
Yeah.
I've got some Pokemon Go memories here, Gio.
Same,
Of
dude.
buying-
I've spent
buying the
hundreds
balls
on
and the stuff,
Pokemon
yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
And you know what? Those greedy bastards, Niantic, could have tokenized that game so easily. So easily. Your steps could literally be like that step crypto thing where you walk and you're earning something from that. You can do the same thing on Pokemon Go.
Buying a land
No
track
different.
or a gym.
Yeah.
So everyone that uses that, so many possibilities. But while they've got millions of people who are willing to just spend money and get nothing, why would they?
Why would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why and that's why the big guys will just wait until all the little guys, you know, create the tech, become successful, and then they'll swoop in. You wait. They're gonna get their greedy, grubby hands in that pot of honey and just lap it all up. It's true. That's just the big fish, you know.
Yeah. Well,
The
I
big fish.
hope
Always.
there's some people who are watching this who are going to be as inspired as I am, and to revamp community P2P. I actually remember right back in the very early days when Kurt first introduced me to Steam, as it was at the time. I didn't even know I'd heard of Bitcoin, but like I didn't know about altcoins. I didn't know. I was making Steam on DTube videos, not having any idea what it was. And I didn't have an account with an exchange, so I couldn't do anything with my Steam except buy Splinterlands cards. So I'm so glad that, because it was all, you know, everything that fell into the category of something else to learn about this new thing. I'm so grateful for the fact that I was able to buy those initial cards, because I had nothing. There's nothing else. I was earning Steam. I couldn't spend it. I had no idea to go to exchange.
Yeah.
But back then, Kurt was going to meetups, and it was like Bitcoin meetups, just circumventing exchanges. Some people would go with their Bitcoin wallet on their mobile. Some people would just go with cash. So it's like, here's $1,000 cash, right? Mobile to mobile transfer, done. No exchanges, no middleman. That's what we can do with a community. But while we're in this over-regulated system, okay, I want an account with an exchange just so I can get some crypto. Boom, ATO, tax, this, regulation, that. What did you have for breakfast? Like all that KYC. That's these people that you're talking about, Gio, want to get their tongue in the honey jar. I just want a piece of, like, why the fuck should they have anything between me and you?
Yeah.
We want to do something. If I can touch my mobile to your mobile and we do a transaction, it's got nothing to do with anyone else.
Exactly.
But you need community to get into that.
You do. And you can't, you have to rely on each other outside of their system that they've created for you. And they reap the benefits off of that. They get, they get from every transaction, they're the ones getting something. And it's like, no, fuck you guys. Let's just, let's work something out. And you know what? And the bad actors, the real bad actors who are bad within this P2P community, they're the ones who just get swarmed by family members anyway and knock the fuck out. And that's how you, that's how people learn.
Yeah.
You know,
And when-
can't rely on the banks and this and that. Nah, man, good old fashioned,
Yeah.
I'm
And
sure
when you got the scores on the board and you're new, you come into a community and someone says, "Hey, look, now this is what I want to
Yeah.
do." Someone's going to say,
Yeah.
you need to talk to BMO.
yeah.
And it's just like, so that's your signpost straight away. It's like,
Mhm.
I've been burnt so many times. I don't know who this guy is. I don't trust. Here's a
Yeah.
whole community and everyone is saying, yeah, you need to talk to BMO.
The outer.
Yeah.
There you go. The wise men.
Like climb up
Hey.
top of the mountain, there's BMO just sitting there in his cave. Oh yeah.
With a staff.
Yeah.
He's got his crystal balls. And his...
Alric.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we were
Got free
actually,
energy.
believe it or not, almost at the end of the hour already. Crazy how much time has gone. So we've got about 5 minutes left. So anyone got some thoughts, some questions, some wrap ups, anything that want to chuck in?
Man, I've spoken a lot. I've had a lot to say. Anyone else who may have wanted to say something and hasn't, it's your turn.
I'll ask quickly, BMO, your favourite card and your card that you think is undervalued, underutilized. What's your card that really you can't wait to play?
The card, a monster card, huh? It would be, my favorite is hands down Dr. Blight. As long as he's on level 3 or 4. 4 would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
He's brutal.
He's
He
what you
is.
would call meta.
yeah, you think you win,
Necessary.
you've won, but then Blight just gets his HP up and then he just loses.
Yeah, that scavenge gets
Yeah.
nuts. In Little League, I've got this team I like to play where I've got Lyra and then is it Cave Slugs? I've got like 3 or 4 scavenge cards at the back end. Like anytime anyone dies, you just see scavenge, and they're just getting stronger and stronger as the match goes on. It's really, really fun.
And you just load up the small guys in the front or wherever,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
one in
exactly, the
back,
cannon
you know.
fodder.
Yeah.
Because when you got a little league team, everyone's got like 3 health, 4 health. So
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
And that's the best to play the Suicide Squad for death.
Yeah, what is
Yeah,
your favorite
with
splinter?
redemption.
Well, we've gone
Alright.
the card. What's your favorite splinter? Like,
For me, it would be death. I don't like them that much if I'm in silver or gold, but once they're all maxed out, man.
It seems to be a trend with champ players, right? We got Holizer, you had on. We had Sinistry loves death.
Lum
Lum
with all his
likes life,
debuffs.
death. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Death is real deadly, huh? At higher
Yeah.
leagues.
Mhm.
Destructive.
Right.
The debuffs can't even fit in on the card.
two rows of debuffs.
Yeah.
All right. Anything you want to put out there or share before we
Final words.
Final words? Yeah. Speak
Well-
now, forever hold your peace, as they say.
Yeah.
I think I've spoken enough, but yeah, just keep on grinding and don't get tired of doing what if you like the game, just keep playing it. And if you're for playing, I would say have more patience, because if not, it's gonna cost you a lot.
Yeah.
Know what you want and have the patience for the timing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's perfect.
exactly.
All right. So that's a wrap up then for episode 28. Bimo, thank you so much coming on the show. Like you've
You're welcome.
you've so reignited this inner fire. I'm just like pumping on the inside. And if you're watching this episode, you have any questions, please drop a link in the comment section below. We love engagement, and that's why every single week, whichever person who comments and generates the most engagement from their comment will receive 10% of the post rewards. Thanks for joining us in episode 28. Look forward to seeing you on episode 29. Boba Fett, peace out.